Yo, what's up, guys? I got off of work. I just got home. I'm in my first trade of the day. I took shorts looking on US 30 with a 100-point stop off of a 1 hour imbalance. I be risking shit a little riskier. Like, I don't really be looking for as many confirmations as I know I should. So I'm a little bit riskier when it comes to trading than most of y'all if y'all are disciplined. But I took that trade looking to get out at the previous day low, which is basically at the same spot as the Asian range lows. It's just right there on top of each other. I risked 500 points on this first trade. We're at TP1, so I'm break even already, so I'll let y'all know how that goes. It's only 8:52. I took the trade about at 8:28, 8:30-ish. Somewhere between 8:25 and 8:30, which is 9:30. I'm an hour behind New York, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and hop in the shower and let this trade hit TP, because I kind of feel like it's just gonna hit TP when I hop in the shower. So I'm gonna just go ahead and hop in the shower once I works. FedEx package handler, unless it's the only thing you can do, don't fucking work there. I mean, you can if you want. It's a great exercise. It's a great workout, but the pay isn't worth what the fuck you're doing. But as always, I would have to say, if you are in situations such as that, make sure to stay grateful. Don't make sure to be like, I might not like the job, but I'm grateful that I had. Like, yeah, I might not want to do it. It might be heavy. My body might be sore and it might be aching and it might be hurting. But shit, I'm grateful to at least have a fucking job. That I can take that job and put it into my trading and put it into my other businesses and make more money from that. So we all gotta start somewhere. Don't ever forget that. We all gotta start somewhere. So hope y'all got something positive from my words right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and hop in the shower and I'll talk to y'all right now. Yo, what's up, guys? I just hopped out the shower. I was listening to I didn't know it was an audio book, but I guess it was like a little 30-minute audio book that I was listening to it while I was in the shower, and it was talking about how we're not really separate from God. God is within all of us, and God is I am. And basically, if God is inside of us, all we have to really do is say, like, let's say you want something to happen, you have to use the words I am. Like, if you want money, let's say I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am so grateful for the tremendous amount of abundance that I have now, like stuff like that. But yes, you have to say it, but you also have to feel it. You have to feel as if it is true. If you don't feel it, if you say it but you don't truly feel that way inside of your mind and inside of your emotions, then it's not gonna happen. You're gonna basically, we'll think of the imagination as prayer, because that is the way to the creative imagination, the sixth sense, all that, the Lord, whatever you want to call it. That's the way that Neville Goddard teaches us that we're supposed to pray. And so you want to go into your imagination and you want to say that I am. So, like, for example, money. I am so happy and grateful now that money is, like the one that Bob Proctor uses. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continuous basis through multiple sources of income. Or you can even use other things like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I see X amount of dollars in my bank account. Or I am so happy and grateful now that I have my dream car, and then you would name the car or whatever. But when you say it, you would, like, if you're using a car, for example, you would want to go into your imagination while you're falling asleep. Imagine yourself in that car and make it as detailed and as real as possible. So let's say you're in that car. Let's say you're not even driving it, but you're in the car, and let's just say, for example, you're a smoker. So what you want to do is you want to go into your imagination and you want to see yourself in the car. You want to build this imaginary scene, and as you're doing this, you want to start to involve your five senses. You want to involve your emotions as well. So you want to, how does the car smell? Are you smoking in the car, since that's what you're sitting in it? Are you just chilling in it just because you feel like chilling in it, you know? And so that smell, you want to hear it. if you're sitting in the car quietly, what do you hear outside the car? What do you hear inside the car? If you're about to start the car, okay, feel yourself turning the key and hearing the car start. Things like that. That's how you want to build, and then you want to feel as if it's true. So when you're doing this, you want to completely forget that you're even imagining this, and you want to feel that it's real, almost like a dream. I finished reading the Bible, and 5 pages of the Bible, and I finished reading 10 pages of Think and Grow Rich. But I'm gonna go over the 10 pages, the notes from the 10 pages of Think and Grow Rich first. And my notes are talking about a little bit of the 6 basic fears still. So there's the fear of losing a loved one. You can usually recognize this fear by jealousy and making accusations without any actual real reason or any reasonable suspicion. So people often also fear old age because they falsely believe that they are slipping or they're getting old, whether this is physically or mentally, and that they may lose their freedom and their ability to live as if they were their younger self still. And people often also fear death because we don't have, like, it's unknown to us, and we don't have any physical proof of what happens to us when we actually die. We just often naturally, as a human, we fear it. But we really shouldn't fear death, because death is just it's necessary, and it is the cost of having experienced every up and down and every other experience that we get to experience when we live. So we shouldn't really fear it. And the fear of worry destroys self-confidence and reasoning. And worry, as described in the book, is just sustained fear caused by indecision. And indecision makes your mind unsettled, and when your mind's unsettled, it paralyzes your mind. But it's only a state of mind, and our state of mind can be controlled by our conscious thinking. And as for the fear of poverty, we shouldn't fear poverty. We should actually just get along and be grateful for what we have now. Obviously, we want to make more, but we should still be grateful and get along and properly manage what we're already making, instead of being ungrateful and fucking it off and hoping we have more. You should not worry about what other people think and what other people do, and you should come to your own conclusion and your own decisions of thought and action. And for people who fear old age, you should accept old age, because in old age you have wisdom and experience that others don't who are younger. And as for the fear of ill health, it says that you should just forget about your symptoms and just try to not to think about them, pretty much. Like if you're sick, like how some people, they're sick but they'll still get up and go to work and just forget that they're sick, like that basically. Nothing in life is worth worrying about, so you shouldn't really worry about anything in life, no matter what it is. And you should learn to love yourself without anybody else's approval or validation, so you can chill with yourself and you don't have to be uncomfortable while you're by yourself. And it says that fear affects intelligent action and transmits itself into energy form to other people's minds and to our surroundings. And that people who talk about negative or destructive thoughts, they're gonna experience what they talk about. And that if you release thoughts of a destructive nature, that you will also experience the breaking down of your creative imagination. And that negative thoughts repel people and develop a negative personality, and negative thoughts and emotions also embed themselves into your subconscious and become part of your character, unless you change it with conscious thought and action. So by controlling your thoughts and actions, you can control your reality and what you get out of life. But if you fail to control your thoughts and actions, mainly your thoughts, you're just gonna be thrown into the circumstance of the mediocrity of life, and you'll get whatever life decides to throw at you. You'll get the leftovers of everybody else, and you'll be like as if you were trapped among the waves of the sea. And it talks about how if we allow negative influences to come into our life, it can be fatal, because often negative influence is subtle and it goes undetected because it works through the subconscious mind. So we have to protect ourselves from negative influences so we don't allow it to get into our minds. And it says that successful people always, or more oftentimes than not, protect themselves from negative influences, while poor people never protect themselves from negative influences. And it talks about how you should examine yourself and self-analyze yourself to see what your weaknesses are so you can strengthen them, and how susceptible you are to negative influences and how to protect yourself from these things. And then it talks about how you should stay away from negative, discouraging, or depressing people and be around people who you want to be like, or who uplift you, or who inspire you. For the trade I was in, I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on the screen right now. And I took this trade at TP1 because it had came like 10 points away from my TP2 like 3 or 4 times, and it just stayed at TP1 for like a good hour or two. And anytime this has ever really happened to me, it has just broken me even. So I just took it at TP1, and then like not even 10 minutes after I took it at TP1, it decided it wanted to drop to my TP2. It was unfortunate. It was my decision to take it at TP1 when I know that I should have just held it, whether it hit break even or not, because that's what my rules are. But I decided that I didn't want to take it at break even because I let the aspect of money get in my head, and I didn't want to make no money. So I just took it at TP1, and I made $500 on this trade, and it would have been $1,000 if I held the TP2, or it would have been $0 if I held the break even. But it should have been one of those two options, not TP1. For the Bible notes I got for y'all, I read Micah 6 and 7, and then I read Nahum 1, and then I read the book of Nahum, however you say it. To hear what God is telling you not to do, and when you do things that He doesn't want you to do, it brings Him displeasure. The Bible, it says that God has already told us how to live, and that all He really requires us is to live justly and mercifully, and that we walk humbly with our Lord God. And it says that you shouldn't practice lying or deceitfulness or any violent ways. You won't reap the harvest of your ways, and if you do, you won't get to experience them for very long at all. And it says that God feels misery when there is no godly people on earth, and when everybody's doing violence. And He compares it to like a picker or a farmer when it's harvest time, but they can't find any fruit or anything. It says that people with power and influence, they get what they want. They scheme so they can avoid justice, but no matter how they avoid justice, they'll be judged accordingly and punished accordingly when it's their time. And it also says that you shouldn't trust nobody, not your wife, not nobody, not even your family. And it says that you should look for salvation in the Lord and trust the Lord, and that you should let Him know what you want when you pray to Him. And it also says that when your enemies brag and boast over you, that you shouldn't worry about it, because even though you've fallen at the time, like you're in a lower spot at the time, you will rise back up eventually. Everybody has their time and place, and everything has a time and place, and it will be your time when it's your time. So just stay patient, and just stay patient and don't even worry about anybody or what they got or what they're trying to show off, because you'll have your turn when it's your turn. It says that when people ask like, where's God, or that there's no God, that when they see His righteousness, they'll regret ever saying that. And basically it says that even though God does get angry, He doesn't stay angry forever, and He delights in showing unfailing love and forgiving sins when you turn away from your ungodly ways or sinful ways. That He's slow to anger, and that He's powerful, and He won't let the guilty go unpunished unless they turn from their ways. Whatever He wants to happen, all He has to do is to command it to happen, and that it'll happen. And like I said, He's in all of us, God's in all of us, we all have that particle inside of us. So when you want your desired reality, you just go into your imagination and pray and say that I am. And then the last few things it talks about is how people usually celebrate when wicked people die. You should trust in the Lord and find salvation in the Lord, because you don't want to be his enemy, because nothing can withstand his fury or his wrath if he decides to destroy it. Not even the devil could take over or withstand his wrath. That's why he was thrown into hell.